Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 226, Lamar, Hundreds of Beavers.
Well, we combined a man versus wild, kind of with also old school black and white movies combined with green screen, Joe.
Combined with Looney Tunes cartoons, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's it. A man versus wild with a hint of cartoon craziness. Yeah.
Well, you pretty much described it, but our first category is what do we think of the story? I mean,
Whoa! It's a lot, Joe.
yeah,
Even though, okay, well, first of all, this is pretty much a silent film, but the
yeah, for the
story
most part.
is this guy. He was an Applejack salesman, and he has some bad luck, Joe. But he lands back on his feet in the cold winter, and he starts surviving in the wild. But then he meets what is it like this trapper guy
A trapper and his daughter, I
and his
guess.
daughter. And of course, we know what happens. He wants to get at the daughter, but Trapper is like, you got to bring me.
Hundreds of beavers.
Well,
Before he has to bring him hundreds of beavers, he's actually has to just bring maybe 2 beavers so that he can get a knife for
Yes.
survival, and then like
Mm-hmm.
10 beavers so that he can get something else for survival. So it's like going through the levels, and they did do that kind of like a video game count.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think, Lamar?
I like the idea. The problem I have is I felt like it was a little too long.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There's like this very long, drawn out, like trial and error period for this guy
Yeah.
surviving, killing things. And it's cool looking. We'll talk about like aesthetic later, but then like after a while, you're just like, well, this is a lot.
Yeah, and like I said,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about aesthetic and comedy later because
Yeah.
I did enjoy this. This is a trip. It's a lot of fun. If you do drugs on the regular, you probably love this because it's wild, it's crazy, it's a trip. But I agree, it is long, and the problem is it is cartoonish. It's like watching a Looney Tunes cartoon, but there's so many gags that they get repetitive. Slimmed down, this would have been a wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. This is amazing. So, half point for me.
Agreed. Half a point. I gotta give it to him. Half a point. Yes.
Well, our next category is what do we think of the characters?
I mean, they're silent for the most part, but you have, what's his name? Is it Gene Kayak? He's zany. He's doing all these crazy things. It was interesting to watch him.
Yeah, he was
It,
good. Yeah,
it was comedic ingenuity on his part, and there's like you said, a lot of gags and stuff like that. Then you have the trapper and the daughter. They're
yeah,
the trapper is kind of funny with
yeah.
like
He's funny,
spitting stuff and all this kind of stuff,
and
and
he's
then the
always well. We'll talk about comedy later.
okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say the daughter, she comes off as a simple girl, but yeah, she wants to get the hunter
yeah.
guy too. Yeah.
And she has dancing skills, Lamar. She's a skilled dancer. We found out.
Well, I mean, you got to pass the time some way in
Yeah.
the tundra.
There
So
are other characters which are the woods creatures. There's wolves and bunnies and raccoons, and of course, hundreds of beavers. And the beavers are getting killed, and there's detective beavers trying to solve who's killing the beavers.
yeah, there's detective beavers, there's worker beavers, there's scientist beavers,
Yep.
there's lawyer beavers, and there was also a Native American.
True.
So
True.
there was Native American, and then there was like some top hunter guy that came
Yeah.
in and out and
Came.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, you had a plethora
You
of
did.
characters. Yeah,
Yeah. What you giving it for characters?
I'll give it a 1.
Yeah, I agree. It was good.
Yes.
But our next category is what did we think of the comedy?
It's very old school cartoonish,
For
like
sure.
going all the way
Yeah.
back to like Steamboat Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. Um, and the actors play into it, so they're very good. The problem is it goes for so long.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
going back to what we said, the gags, there's so many of them and it's happening. It's like they kind of lose their funniness. but overall, it is wild. And one of the gags that I was going to say before that I was funny throughout the movie is the trapper. He's always trying to catch his daughter and the guy in the act, basically. But every time, they're always trying to avoid getting caught and stuff. So that's a funny thing. The beavers are funny. All the
Yes.
cartoonish gags in the world. I thought it was funny. It was too long. There was too many gags, but I'm still gonna give it 1 for comedy.
One for comedy. I'm giving it a half a point. Just went a little too long for me. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our next category, though, is what do we think of the special effects of this?
A great blend of green screen,
Yeah.
on-site stuff, a lot of stuff that they put into it. Of course, they have like certain animations that look like cartoonish and stuff like that. Also, the look of it too.
Yeah.
The certain animations and stuff like that, like really play, like we cannot say it enough. Like this is an old school cartoon.
Yeah.
It really plays to that, and I enjoy looking at it. Like it looks like it's like Sin City, but like a zany cartoon,
Yeah.
basically.
That's a good
Yeah,
way to describe it. Yeah.
yeah.
And like as far as like practical effect, of course the woodland creatures are actually just people in animal suits, which is. But the gag that made me laugh too was he has to kill like the beavers or the animals to survive, and then he brings it to the trapper, and the daughter, of course, she's gonna like gut the animal to get the meat, and they literally just took a suit, the giant person-sized animal suit, and they stuffed it with like bones and stuff. So that looked funny to me. So I love all that. I thought the effects were fun for what they were supposed to be. So
They were
1 point.
same 1 point.
Well, our last category, Lamar, is what do we think of this overall gimmick, the overall aesthetic? It's like, is this like something that you just want to see this once, or do we want to see more stuff like this if it's creative, I guess?
That is a good question because we talked about it's a little too long. But if this was like in little bits and pieces,
Yeah.
I would like it a lot. Like, let's say, like, well, you've watched old school cartoons like, Wile E. Coyote and stuff like that going against the Roadrunner. They
Yeah.
weren't that long. If this was
True.
to me, if this was in like 10-minute like beats and stuff like that, like
Mm-hmm.
him like getting the different beavers, this would be awesome.
Right.
And so I like that part of it. And that's what the movie was, but it was just so long. But if you would have broken it up or made it shorter,
Right.
awesome.
You
Yeah.
almost could take this, whatever it was, an hour and 45 minutes or whatever it was, cut it into chunks and use this like the genesis of what real cartoons were. Put them before an actual movie. like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Full Moon features and then but they have a little cartoon before them and it's this and it would be pretty hilarious like cuz I do like this gimmick of what they went for. So man, what do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 1. Oh.
I'm gonna give it a half point because, like, you could grow tired of this as well. I think so.
Oh.
It is good in small doses. Well, Lamar, we tally the score, and this movie gets a 4 out of 5. Pretty good.
Pretty good, just a little long. I like the aesthetic. Yeah, the woodland creatures add a lot of comedy
Yeah.
to it. I think the actors really get into it as well. The look of it is amazing. It looks like it took a long time to do and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So
A lot of
yeah.
planning probably for something like this, like
Mm-hmm.
all the shots. Yeah, I would say it's fun. It's creative. It's one of the more creative movies I think we've ever reviewed. So it's different, of course, and so yeah, props to them. Like, just make it a little shorter.
That's it,
Yeah.
basically.
Well,
Yeah.
it comes out on April 15th on the
Yeah.
Apple TV or whatever, and then it'll be available everywhere else on April 19th. So I don't know. Find more information at hundradsofbeavers.com, but it's an interesting watch.
It is. Yes.
Does that wrap it up then, Lamar?
It does, Joe.
Was a peace.
Deuces, Joe.
You're not going to make a beaver gesture?
I'm not a beaverologist, so I don't
They go
wanna-
like this.
I don't know. That kind of looks like a gopher.
Fine. What do you know?